The town of Mammoth Lakes has published online information about the AB 506 mediation process and debt restructuring solutions reached in mediation. Now, it was back on April 30th, 2012 that the town initiated a mediation, that's a neutral evaluation process, in accordance with the new California state law, AB 506. A total of 16 interested parties or creditors have participated in the 60-day mediation process with the guidance of Judge David Corr. Now, in a press release, the town states, quote, "Regrettably, as of today, the town's largest creditor, Mammoth Lakes Land Acquisition, has refused to participate in the mediation despite the town's multiple invitations," end quote. Now, the state law generally requires that the mediation be confidential. However, the town and the mediating parties have signed confidentiality waivers consenting to make public the names of the mediating parties, requests made by the town to these parties, and any agreements reached in mediation. The town has created a website where information concerning the mediation is now posted, and that is ci.mammoth-lakes.ca.us. Now, the 60-day mediation is scheduled to conclude this Friday, June 29th, unless extended in accordance with AB 506. Now, to date, the town has been able to reach agreements with most parties, and these agreements are detailed online. Now, the press release states that regardless of the outcome of the mediation and the status of agreements, the town plans to implement its fiscal year 2012-13 budget approved by the town council on June 20th, and they will implement that on July 1st. The detailed budget document, including the budget reduction plan, is also available on the town's website, and that is under ci, again, .mammoth-lakes.ca.us. Well, we do have some great news. Barring unforeseen circumstances, the Meadow Valley Road is scheduled to open to the public this Friday, providing public access to Devil's Postpile National Monument, Rainbow Falls, Meadow Resort, and recreation sites, trailheads, and campgrounds in the Meadow Valley. Now, a press release from the United States Forest Service states that all regular rules, fees, and restrictions will be in place upon opening of the road, including mandatory use of the shuttle bus. Now, information on fees, the mandatory shuttle bus, and exception vehicles can be obtained on the Inyo National Forest website, and that is fs.usda.gov. Forest Service plans to open the road to exception vehicles at 9 a.m. this Friday. Now, the U.S. Forest Service, National Park Service, and several partners have been working hard to remove fallen trees, hazards, and debris, as well as make repairs to infrastructure damaged in that nasty wind event that toppled tens of thousands of trees in the Meadow Valley surrounding area and throughout the Inyo National Forest. Now, Meadow and Devil's Postpile campgrounds will be open on a first-come, first-served basis Friday at 11 a.m. The Forest Service is planning to open Pumice Flat and portions of Minaret Falls Campground in subsequent days. Now, campsite availability will be tracked by the staff at the Minaret Vista Ranger Station, and campers will be informed of availability upon arriving at the station. Again, that will be beginning at 11 a.m. on Friday. Group campgrounds remain closed, and reservations are not being accepted at this time. The Forest Service estimates that nearly 2,000 trees have been cleared from trails in and around the Meadow Valley. Maps that display information on the status of all area trails and identify remaining problem areas are available on that Inyo National website, Inyo National Forest website, and again, that is fs.usda.gov, and you'll want to go to Inyo Blowdown. Now, the Forest Service, Park Service, Eastern Sierra Transit Authority, Town of Mammoth Lakes, Mammoth Mountain Ski Area, and many other partners who have contributed to cleanup and repair efforts will hold a ceremony at the top of Meadow Valley Road, and the public is invited to join that short ceremony that will begin promptly at 9 o'clock this Friday. Now, those attending that ceremony can park at the nearby Mountain View Trailhead or in the helicopter landing pad adjacent to the Minaret Vista. Now, the Eastern Sierra Transit Authority will have on display one of the 12 new buses recently purchased with federal highway grants that will be servicing the Meadow Valley and the Eastern Sierra for many years to come. Now, the maiden voyage of the new bus fleet into the valley will depart from the Mammoth Adventure Center at 8:45 Friday morning. If you would like some more information, contact the Mammoth Lakes Welcome Center at 760-924-5500. Well, that's about a road opening. Story about road closures. As citizens sound off against forced road closures, Forest Service Trails Coordinator Marty Hornick asked for calls with specifics, and Friends of the Inyo Director Stacy Corliss responds to attacks on her organization's work. Bennett Kessler filed this story. Now, Hornick did confirm that the Forest Service is willing to make adjustments in the current travel management plan of road closures. Hornick said, quote, "We have already begun to look at some things, either mistakes in the document or things that can be fixed readily," end quote. Now, the reconsideration of road closures will cost money, and the Forest Service effort to get a state grant for that purpose did not come through. Hornick still maintained that the forest is looking at some places for changes. Now, asked to comment on the angry outpouring against road closures, Hornick said, quote, "One of the sad things is that an awful lot of people are concerned now when we did have 7 years of planning and 4 or 5 years of intensive public comment. We did a massive outreach," Hornick said, and he said they conducted some 50 public hearings. Hornick says it saddens him that people are now saying the Forest Service blasted through or ignored comments. Now, Hornick said he does want to know about the key places to make improvements. "We need good feedback," he said. Hornick pointed to Mono Supervisor Vicki Bauer, who he said sat down with constituents and held meetings in June Lake. Hornick said they were developing specific key concerns for us to look at, and we will prioritize these and plan to fix them. He did say the Forest Service cannot fix every problem. Now, Hornick restated that the Forest Service is supervising and working with Friends of the Inyo, which got a $600,000 state off-highway vehicle grant for road restoration. Now, critics of the group have accused the Friends of contributing to the lack of access. Director Stacy Corliss said, quote, "We believe in stewardship of the land," end quote. She said the current work is all part of that and that there's no black helicopter circling overhead to take over the land. It's for the health and enjoyment of the land, she said. Now, Corliss said the way to deal with things now is to go talk to Marty Hornick, go out on the ground and make a case. That's the way to have resolution, she said. Corliss said she does have sympathy for people who are hardworking citizens who don't have time to go to meetings. I know their frustration. She added that it's not appropriate to vandalize. She supports, quote, "getting out on the land together, place by place, to work together to make things better," end quote. And no one's complaining about the work done by Friends of the Inyo. Recently organized 44 volunteers to open Duck Pass. That's Duck Pass right over my shoulder there. My brother Spike and Randy and dog Shayla, TJ Barrett Trail, and other trails in the Lakes Basin. Corliss pointed out that the Forest Service has been overwhelmed with the Reds Meadow blowdown of thousands of trees, and their nonprofit organization is filled in. "Our mission is caring for Eastern Sierra public lands. We are not anti-OHV," said Corliss. Well, encouraged by the Forest Service to help with the road closure plan, the Friends of the Inyo applied for California Parks OHV funds, and Corliss said that 1/3 of those funds are specifically for restoration work to mitigate OHV damage, she said. Corliss had a message for critics. "We are here now. Please don't turn anger and frustration into vandalism. Talk to the Forest Service." Well, the phone number for Marty Hornick, Trails Program Manager for the Inyo National Forest, is 760-873-2461. Well, there is a previous story on this issue as well as comments on our website, sierrawave.net. We'll be back with more news.